So, one of the most common questions I see from people who are just getting started with investing is not what to invest in. It's not which stocks to pick or which fund is the best. It's this: where do I even start? Like, okay, I want to invest. I get it. I understand I need to do this. But I have a credit card with some balance on it and a student loan, and my job has a 401k, and I've heard about a Roth IRA, and someone told me I should have an emergency fund first. And someone else told me to just start investing immediately, and I have no idea which of these things to do first. And honestly, that confusion is completely valid because there is a lot of noise out there about this stuff, and a lot of it contradicts itself. And when everything feels equally urgent, it's really easy to just do nothing because you don't know where to start. So that's what this video is: the exact order, step by step. What to do first, what to do second, what to do after that. A clear, simple sequence that takes you from wherever you are right now to having your money working as efficiently as possible. And I'm going to explain the reasoning behind each step too, because I don't just want you to follow a list blindly. I want you to understand why the order matters, because when you understand the why, you make better decisions when your situation doesn't fit the template perfectly. Let's go through it. Okay, so before we even get to step one, I want to talk about something that most people skip and then wonder why nothing is working. You need to know your actual, not a rough sense of them, the actual number. How much comes in every month after taxes? How much goes out every month to fixed expenses, rent, car, insurance, subscriptions, minimum debt payments? How much is left after that? That leftover number, whatever it is the raw material you're working with. And everything in this video depends on knowing what that number actually is. I know this sounds boring. I know most people would rather just jump to the investing part. But I've talked to so many people who have a vague plan to invest more, but have no idea how much they actually have available to invest. And vague plans don't build wealth. Spend 20 minutes on this before you do anything else. Go through your last 2 or 3 bank statements. Add up what actually went out, subtract it from what came in. Whatever is left is what you have to work with. Now let's talk about what to do with it. I know you came here to talk about investing, and I'm starting with a savings account. Just stay with me. Before you invest a single dollar, you need a small financial cushion, not the full emergency fund yet. We'll get to that later. Just a starter one, something like $1,000 to $2,000 sitting in a savings account that you do not touch under any circumstances except a genuine emergency. Here's why this comes first. If you start investing without any cushion and something goes wrong, charity, car breaks down, medical bill, unexpected expense, whatever, you have 2 options. Go into debt to cover it or pull money out of your investments. Both of those options are bad. Going into debt costs you money and interest. Pulling from investments potentially costs you taxes, penalties depending on the account, and most importantly, breaks the habit of leaving your investments alone. A $1,000 or $2,000 buffer means that a minor financial emergency is just an inconvenience instead of a crisis. It keeps your investing untouched when life does the thing life always eventually does. Get this in place first. It doesn't take long at most income levels. A few months of focused effort and it's done. Then we move on. Okay, now we're getting to the real stuff. If your employer offers a 401k with any kind of matching contribution, meaning they will put money into your retirement account based on how much you contribute, this is the single highest priority investment move you can make, bar none, because employer matching is free money, literally free. If your employer matches 100% of your contributions up to 3% of your salary, and you're not contributing at least 3%, you are turning down free money every single paycheck. Let me put a real number on this. If you make $50,000 a year and your employer matches up to 3%, that's $1,500 of free money per year that you are leaving on the table if you're not contributing enough to get the full match over a career that's tens of thousands of dollars in free contributions, plus the compounding on top of that, plus the tax advantages of the 401k itself. There is no investment in the world that gives you an immediate 50% or 100% return on your money the way an employer match does. Nothing, not crypto, not individual stocks, nothing. Get the full match, always, before anything else. What if your employer doesn't offer a match or you don't have access to a 401k at all? skip to step 3. Okay, so this is the step that trips people up the most because it feels like it's not investing. It feels like it's going backwards, like you're just paying off debt instead of building wealth. But here's how I want you to think about it. Paying off a credit card charging 22% interest is a guaranteed 22% return on your money. You are mathematically certain to be 22% better off per dollar applied to that debt than if you'd put that dollar somewhere else. The stock market historically returns around 10% per year on average. Your credit card is charging you more than double that guaranteed. There is almost no investment scenario where it makes more mathematical sense to invest whilst carrying high interest debt than to pay off the debt first. The rule of thumb I use is anything above 7% or 8% interest. That's the threshold where paying off debt beats investing. Below that, lower interest debt like some student loans or a mortgage. The math starts to favor investing instead because the market's historical return starts to outpace the interest costs. So for high interest debt, credit cards, personal loans, anything in the double digits, pay it off aggressively before investing beyond the employer match. This is not a punishment. This is one of the highest return moves you can make. Okay, so you've got the starter emergency fund from step 1. Now it's time to build it out to the full version. The full emergency fund is 3 to 6 months of living expenses sitting in a high yield savings account, somewhere accessible, somewhere stable, not invested in the market. 3 months if your income is very stable. You work a normal salaried job, the industry is solid, losing your income is unlikely in the short term. 6 months if your income is variable, you're self-employed, or your industry is more volatile. I know keeping this money in savings instead of investing it feels inefficient. And mathematically, over the long run, yes, money invested in the market will almost certainly outperform money sitting in savings. But the emergency fund isn't an investment, it's insurance. Its job is to make sure that a major life disruption, job loss, serious medical issue, major unexpected expense doesn't force you to blow up your investment strategy at the worst possible time. The people who had a full emergency fund in 2020, when things got scary, were able to keep investing through the crash and capture the recovery. The people who didn't have one were sometimes forced to sell investments at the bottom just to cover their lives. The emergency fund is what separates those two outcomes. Build it, keep it, don't invest it. That's its job. Okay, now we're in full investing mode. A Roth IRA is one of the most powerful accounts available to regular people, and it is criminally underused. Here's the deal. A Roth IRA lets you invest money that you've already paid taxes on. It grows completely tax-free inside the account. And when you withdraw it in retirement after age 59 and a half, you pay zero taxes on any of it. Not on the contributions, not on the growth, not on the decades of compounding. Zero. The contribution limit changes slightly year to year, but it's roughly $7,000 annually for most people. That's the max you can put in. And the tax-free growth is genuinely extraordinary when you think about it over a long time horizon. If you max out a Roth IRA every year from 22 to 60, the amount you contributed is meaningful. But the amount the government would have taken in taxes on all that growth without the Roth is potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars. Money that instead stays in your pocket because you use the right account. There are income limits on who can contribute to a Roth IRA directly. If you're making over a certain amount, the limits change yearly, you might need to look into something called a backdoor Roth, which is a legitimate strategy, but a little more complex. But for most people starting out, a Roth IRA is straightforward and enormously valuable. Open one, max it out if you can. If you can't max it right away, contribute what you can and increase it over time. So in step 2, we contributed enough to the 401k to get the full employer match. Now in step 6, we're coming back to max it out completely. The 2024 contribution limit for a 401k is $23,000 for people under 50. That's a significant amount of tax advantage space. Traditional 401k contributions reduce your taxable income right now. So if you make $70,000 and contribute $10,000 to a traditional 401k, you only pay income tax on $60,000 this year. That's real money back in your pocket immediately on top of the long-term growth. Now look, most people cannot max out their 401k right away. $23,000 a year is a lot, and that's completely okay. The goal isn't to immediately hit the maximum. The goal is to increase your contribution percentage over time as your income grows. A simple approach that works well. Every time you get a raise, increase your 401k contribution by 1 or 2 percentage points. You never really feel the raise in your paycheck because it gets captured by the contribution increase before you get used to having it. And your retirement savings grow significantly faster without requiring any real sacrifice. Okay, so you've got the emergency fund, you're getting the full employer match. The high interest debt is gone. The Roth IRA is funded. The 401k is growing. Now what? Now you open a regular taxable brokerage account and just keep investing. A taxable brokerage account doesn't have the tax advantages of a 401k or Roth IRA. But it also doesn't have the contribution limits or the restrictions on when you can access the money. You can put in as much as you want. You can take it out whenever you want without penalties. This is the account that eventually gives you real financial flexibility. Because the tax-advantaged accounts are great, but they're specifically designed for retirement. If you want to achieve financial independence before traditional retirement age, if you want the option to stop working at 45 or 50, you need money that you can access before 59 and a half without penalties. The taxable brokerage account is where that money lives. And the strategy in this account is the same boring, simple strategy as everywhere else. Broad market index funds, consistent contributions, leave it alone, let time do the work. Okay, let me just run through the whole sequence quickly so it's clear. Step 1, starter emergency fund, $1,000 to $2,000 before anything else. Step 2, get the full employer 401k match, free money, non-negotiable. Step 3, pay off high interest debt, anything above 7 or 8%, guaranteed return that beats the market. Step 4, full emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of expenses, high yield savings, leave it alone. Step 5, max out Roth IRA, $7,000 a year of tax-free growth, enormous long-term value. Step 6, increase 401k contributions, work toward the maximum over time, capture every raise before lifestyle inflation can get to it. Step 7, taxable brokerage account, unlimited contributions, the path to early financial independence. Real quick, because I know someone is going to be watching this thinking, okay, but what about my specific situation? What if I have a really low interest student loan, like 3 or 4%? Do I still pay that off aggressively before investing? No. At that interest rate, the math clearly favors investing. The market historically outperforms 3 or 4% by a meaningful margin over long periods. Make the minimum payment on the low interest debt and invest the rest. What if I don't have access to a 401k through my employer? Skip step 2 and step 6. Go straight from the emergency fund to the Roth IRA and then the taxable brokerage. If you're self-employed, look into a SEP IRA or a solo 401k, which have much higher contribution limits than a regular IRA. What if I genuinely can't afford to do all of this right now? Do what you can, even if it's just step 1 and step 2. Even if step 5 is $50 a month instead of the full $7,000. The order matters, but doing something at each level matters more than doing nothing while you wait to be able to do everything perfect. I want to close on this because I think it's the most important thing in the video. The order I laid out isn't arbitrary. Every step is designed to solve the most pressing financial vulnerability before moving to the next one. Without the starter emergency fund, you're one minor crisis away from going into debt or rating your investments. Without the employer match, you're leaving free money on the table that will never come back. Without clearing high interest debt, you're fighting the math every day, paying more in interest than you can realistically earn investing. Without the full emergency fund, you're exposed to a major life disruption, destroying your investment strategy at the worst possible time. And without the tax-advantaged accounts, you're paying more in taxes than you legally have to over a lifetime of investing. Each step protects the next one. And doing them in order means your money is always working as hard as possible, given your current situation. You don't need to do all of this in a month. You don't need to do it perfect. You just need to know where you are in the sequence and keep moving forward, one step at a time, in order, without stopping. That's how it works.